Question: have you been watering your flower? If not, that's okay. Come water yours with me. We're gonna grow together. So y'all, lately I just been hearing God speak to me, and sometimes like I feel like we find ourselves being really stagnant in life, and when you're stagnant in life and you find a way to get out of what you're in, right? You always find a way to get. If you're a person to where you always end up on the bottom, but you always figure out how to get out of it, this video is for you. Because just speaking from personal experiences, I've been on the bottom multiple times, right? And I'm not afraid to say that I've been on the bottom multiple times, because God always finds a way to get me out of it. But God has blessed me with so many gifts and talents to where when things are looking funny, I always find a way, and God always helped me find a way to get out of what I'm in. And in this season, you cannot use the old things that God has given you to get out of the thing that you're in now. And I really hope that makes sense with what I just said. Like, I hope y'all understand what I am trying to say. Let's see. Let me give you an example. For an example, right? You got a gift of cooking, right? Or not a gift of cooking, but let's see. You know how to go flip $10 and make 30. Just by selling things or making things or whatever the case may be. But God is calling you to be a motivational speaker, right? The motivational speaker is your gift. But being that you're in a season that you don't want to be in, you're trying to use your old ways on how you flip things when you're on how you flip things, right? You want to use your old strategies. And your old strategies is not working for you because you're in a whole nother season of your life, right? And this has been so strong on me to where I just hear it, and then I go and I watch my motivational videos and I hear somebody say it. That's when I know God speaks to me. God has so many ways on how he communicates with you. He will tell you, and if you're not receiving it from him, he's going to place it in front of you and have somebody else tell you, right? So if you're trying to operate in your old ways in this new season right now that God is trying to place you in, it will not work, right? It is not going to work. It is going to continue to fail. God is saying right now that the only way you're going to be able to get out of this thing that you're in right now is becoming the highest version of yourself. And a lot of times we don't be wanting to come the highest version of ourselves. It's not even that we don't even want to become the highest version of ourselves. It's just the simple fact that becoming the highest version of yourself is very, very hard. Becoming the highest version of yourself causes a lot of work. Becoming the highest version of yourself allows you have to stop hanging with certain people that you're used to hanging with. Becoming the highest version of yourself, you have to stop drinking. Becoming the highest version of yourself, you have to stop smoking. Becoming the highest version of yourself, you got to stop listening to that crazy rap music that you know is tempering with your spirit, right? And a lot of times we don't want to become the highest version of ourselves because it costs so much, right? But you have to really sit, and I just made a video not too long ago about fighting, because we don't understand that this is literally a spiritual battle that we go through. You have to fight every single day to become that person that God has created you to be, because if you don't, either way it go, you're going to pay a price. But at least when you become the highest version of yourself, you get a reward, right? Because when you're not becoming the highest version of yourself, you're paying for something over and over and over and over, and you're allowing yourself to be in a cycle that never ends. It never ends, right? And this is why your mom, and you may wonder why you have the similar gifts like your mom, or you may have the similar gifts like your grandma or your grandfather, right? And it's because God has placed those gifts inside of them. Those same gifts that you carry, God has placed those same gifts inside of them, but they don't have the capacity or the mindset to carry on that gift. So God has placed it into you. So now, being that you're not operate in the way that God wants you to operate, all the things that you used to do, he is exalting it from you. He is taking it away from you. So you have no choice but to do the thing that God has called you to do. You have no choice but to become the highest version of yourself. That job won't work, right? That hustle that you do won't work, right? Until you put yourself to the plow and start doing what God told you to do. That's the only thing that's gonna save you. That's the only thing that's gonna save you. And you're gonna have to start praying, and for myself too. You're gonna have to start praying and asking God to give you strength, right? Because this type of strength cannot just come from you alone, y'all. We are creatures of habits, right? We do the same thing every single day and expect to change, which is really insane, right? We do the same thing every single day. And when you do the same thing every single day, it's comfortable. It feels good. It's hard to get out of it because you have gotten so used to being in the situation that you are in, right? And you don't know how to get out of it. This is not going to just take you. This is going to take God. This help, it has to be a supernatural help, right? So whatever it takes for you to become that person, then you're going to have to do that. Because the more you sit in that space that you really deep down inside know that you're not supposed to be in, you're going to pay for that. And your kids going to pay for that, right? And we get fed up and we get angry and we get mad with God, and God still always has so much grace and mercies on our souls that he still loves us even when we're ignorant, right? Even when we're ignorant, right? And this is going to require a lot of trust from you. It's going to require a lot of trust from you, right? Once you do that thing God told you to do, don't even worry. Don't worry. Just take the action. Once you take the action, give it to God, right? Once you take the action, give it to God. No longer worry about nothing. God literally brings light in the dark when nobody helps, right? You don't have to go flip a switch on for God to bring the sun out so the sun can shine and grow the plants and grow the leaves on the trees, right? You don't have to tell God, hey God, bring out the sun. Okay, God, it's too hot, make it night. You don't have to tell God to do that. All God is telling you to do is show up. Just show up. And a lot of times we're not even placing ourselves in a right place to even show up because we too busy going back to the old place that God is telling us to come out of, right? But God is telling you right now to show up. Show up and become the person that he has told you to become. Why are you waiting? Oh, you're going to do it next week. What you going to do it next week for? Oh, because I'm going to my mom's house and I don't want to fall. Okay, well, don't fall back in the same trap. Whatever God is telling you to do, you need to do it. You need to do what God tells you to do because we don't really have long. Like, look at the things that's going on in today's world. So much stuff is going on in today's world. Everything that's happening that God spoke about in the Bible is taking place, right? COVID. People going against their parents. People turning gay. People turning selling their souls. People lying. People stealing. People killing. Everything, right? And God is telling you to break this curse before time comes. You should do it. You should want to do it. Your mom deserves to be free. And that's what I try to do. I try to keep that mentality in my mindset because I really want God to help me set my family free from the things that they didn't have, the things that they always wanted. And they are watching that come to pass through us because they couldn't do it. That's why they so happy for you when you become the person that you want to become, or that's why they're so happy for you when you graduate, because 9 times out of 10 they probably didn't even graduate. So they hoping, they having faith in you, and God is having faith in you. So whatever it takes for you to become the person that you need to become that. Don't allow excuses to be your God because they're not your God. God is your God. Your help comes from God, right? And most of the times, the thing that we really supposed to do, we don't want to do it because, like I said, it is so uncomfortable and it's so annoying. Like me, I want to be this entrepreneur, this businesswoman that God has ordained for me to be. And I know I'm an entrepreneur because I've been hustling ever since I was 13. Selling stuff, trying to figure out ways to make money and making the money. Right? I got my own car at the age of 16. I moved out of my mom's place before I turned 18. Before I got out of high school. Always been a hustler. And now I'm in a place in my life to where God is calling me to hire, right? And sometimes you got to position yourself. You got to allow God to position you in the right spot. So when it's time for him to set you out in front of the people, you will be ready. Right? But half of the time, we don't like to get positioned in the right spot. We don't want to get in that oven. We don't want to cook a little bit. We don't want to get hot a little bit. We don't want to sweat a little bit. We don't want to burn a little bit. Right? We don't want to prep a little bit. We want to just go straight out there to it because that's what we see other people do. And that's not how God works. God is not a microwave God. Right? So for me, it's hard for me to want to read this book of dictionaries. I never really cared about school. I never really wanted to do math and all that, even though I don't need math to be an entrepreneur. But, I never really wanted to do that. I didn't want to do it. But now I'm in a place in my life to where God is calling me to be higher. When I'm in these meetings, I need to know what's being said. How would I know what's being said when they having business conversation? By reading and studying and preparing myself. And I must admit, I don't read it every day. I don't want to. But sometimes you got to beat your flesh to become the person that you wanted, that God want it to be. Right? Because if not, the cycle is going to continue to go. It's going to continue to turn on. Right? And the world don't stop for you because you don't have it together. It don't stop for you. And I wouldn't even say it's the hurtful thing, but it kind of is, but it kind of ain't. But because God is telling you things and you know what the truth is, you just have a hard time trying to accept it. And being that God give you so much grace and so much mercy, you don't think that person can be you. That person that failed can be you. That person that don't make it can be you. That person that stays stagnant can be you. But that person can't be you if you don't get it together. So start holding yourselves accountable. I challenge you all to put yourselves to work and do what God tell you to do. I challenge myself, right? So let me know how this challenge go for y'all. Let me know what challenge you decide to take on. Let me know if you decide to fast, if you decide to spend more time with God, if you decide to work on that business plan, if you decide to cut off those people, whatever it is that you decide to do. Drop it in the comments or email me or whatever case may be. And I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you and myself. Because we all need it, right? God loves you and he is waiting. He is waiting to see that success rise out of you, right? You got it. You got it. You already won. But you got to see it in your mind. God said a man without a vision would perish. And if you're not even trying to put the vision together, you're not even trying. If you're not even looking at things that you want and the higher person that you want to become, you're not even trying. At least create the vision first. At least know where you're going, right? When you put a GPS in on your phone, to arrive to a certain destination, you are thinking about arriving to that destination, right? You're not just finna crank up this car and just drive all your gas out going nowhere, right? And a lot of times we are doing that in real life. We just continue the same cycle, going to that same job and don't even know where we're going, not creating a plan. And that's not what God wants for us. And some people are meant to work. And if you're meant to work and you love your job, this message is not for you. This is for the people that God, and I feel like God has given all of us gifts. And sometimes your gift can be at that job. But if your gift is not at that job, this message is for you. Use the gift that God has placed inside of you. And if you don't have the funds or whatever it is that you need to use the gifts that God has ordained for you to use, Figure out what you have in your hand right now that you can do. Let's say if you wanted to lose weight, maybe you don't have money for a membership. Work out at home. Do squats at home. Right? Go on YouTube and look at ways to work at home workouts. Right? Drink more water. Right? Just do what you can until God start blessing you more to do more. Right? Use what's in your hand and use your imagination. When God shows you something, when you imagine something, that thing that you see that you can't let go, that is God showing you what he has for you. And it's up to you if you want to receive it or reject it. And a lot of times we are scared, if I'm honest. I found myself being scared to commit to becoming more. And I ask myself why. And it's a lot of times because we are afraid of failing. But most of the times that failing is going to allow us to become better, right? But if you're just staying stagnant in failure and you're not getting back up, that's not a good space to be in. You don't want to stay stuck in failure. Failure is not your destination. Once you fail, get back up and arrive to the place that God has ordained for you to be. And it's not stuck in failure. Like I said in my last video, God said a man falls 7 times and gets up 8. The righteous man falls 7 times and gets up 8, if I'm not mistaken. I forgot what verse it was. But we're going to fail, but get back up. Don't stay stuck in the failure. Create a plan. Ask God, is this the plan that you have for me? Right? If you're not hearing God and God haven't answered your question when you want him to, fast. Go a little bit deeper. Go a little bit intimate with him. Because maybe he's calling you to a deeper, intimate place with him. Right? I really pray this message, help you all. And I pray that, you guys arrive to that destination that God has ordained for you to be. Sometimes you got to stay focused and do what you got to do. Right? Sometimes you got to stay focused and do what you got to do. You're not that old person no more. Right? You're not that old person no more. You're becoming a new person. And it's time for you to start preparing yourself for that person. It's time for you to start acting like that person. It's time for you to start dressing like that person, right? It's time for you to start looking like that person. Yeah, I'm talking to you. It's time. Stop playing with yourself. Stop sleeping on yourself. Stop doubting yourself. And stop telling yourself that you can't get it done, because God wouldn't place the spirit in you He wouldn't place that gift inside of you if he didn't think you can get it done. Right? You got to stop looking at your gift like it's not enough, right? Because it's more than enough. Some people use the most simplest thing and flip it, and people buy it because that's the gift that God has placed in the inside of you. But for some reason, you sleep on your own gifts and talents because maybe somebody else is doing it, or maybe you don't think it's worthy enough, right? And you got to stop telling yourself. That's not what God is telling you, right? God is saying you can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Right? And you can. But you got to believe it. Right? So that's all I have to say. Right? Kings and queens, I pray that, you like I said, you receive this message. God bless you all. I hope you kings and queens have a blessed day. May love and blessings come your way.